All right, let's go over question B5. Remember, we need a table, we need a graph, and then we're going to need an equation. So we need these three things from, oh no, a word problem. The opposite, so let's make this into, they call this translation. So opposite just means the negative sign. Of means multiplication of x squared. So x squared and then plus 5. So I have y equals negative x squared plus 5. Okay. Now, if you're making a table of values, let's just pick some numbers. 0, 1, 2, and 3. And if I look over here, I can kind of cheat because notice they don't have any negative numbers over here on the x. Okay. Okay, what do you do with these x values? You're going to basically put in your x value. Let's see if I can use a highlighter. All the x values here are going to go into here. Okay, let me show you. Let's write this out in white. Y equals negative x squared plus 5. Let me just write out the problem. And basically, you're going to do this 5 times. Okay, we just said, in this case, your x value is going to be 0. So let's write that. Y equals negative, put in a 0, you're going to square it and add 5. Okay, so here I'm going to use my order of operations, PEMDAS. So I'm going to use exponents first. So 0 squared is 0, opposite of 0 is 0, and then 0 plus 5, your answer is going to be 5. So what does that mean? You put in an input of 0, you get 5 as your answer. So that's an ordered pair, right? 0, 5. So what does this f of x value mean? Your f of x is it's a fancy way of saying the y values. Okay, let me do function notation on this one. Let's do function notation. So instead of writing y, let's write f of x. And what I'm doing here is, on this problem, x is 1. So we're going to put x is 1. X is 1 right there. Let's do it. Why do I do that? F of 1 equals negative. Did you notice my substitutions are inside parentheses here? Plus 5. And all we do is just simplify this. So let's simplify this. 1 squared, remember, use PEMDAS. Let's write that, PEMDAS, right? Order of operations. So we're trying to do exponents first, right? So that's 1 to the power of 2 is 1. And the opposite of positive 1 is negative 1. So I get negative 1 plus 5. And negative 1 plus 5 is 4. So this is your function notation. F of 1 equals 4. When x is 1, f of x, or the y value, or the output, is 4. So that's just a fancy order pair of 1, 4. Okay? Let's do the other ones. You can use function notation, or let's use function notation. So f of 2 equals negative, or opposite value of 2 squared plus 5. Okay, again, use order of operations here. So this would be f of 2 is the opposite. I'm doing that last because that is the no, it's a multiplication times. So 2 squared is 4, and the opposite of 4 is negative 4. So my value is going to be f of 2 equals 1. So that is a fancy way of just saying 2 and then 1. 2, 1. All right, let's do it one more time. F of 3 equals opposite of 3 squared plus 5. So then I just simplify this. I'm going to get 9. Negative 9 plus 5 is negative 4. So f of 3 is negative 4. Remember, that's just a fancy way of saying 3 comma negative 4. So we already have the 3. Then my negative 4 goes over here. Okay, so that's my table of values. Let's go ahead and graph this. So 0, 5, 0, 5. Okay. 1, 4. Right 1, up 4. 2, 1. Right 2, up 1. And 3, negative 4. 3, what do we do? Blue. Right 3, down negative 4. Okay, now let's talk about bad. Let's do purple. Okay, this is bad. Okay, don't do this. Don't try to do a line. Okay, don't do that. Okay. Here's another bad. Don't do that. Okay. The correct way is to look at your function families. Okay. So recognize that this is a power of 2. Power of 2 basically means, let's do this color-coded, okay? So the parent graph is going to be looking like this. It's a parabola, that's x squared, okay? What does this negative sign do? It flips it over the x-axis. You go from a happy face to a sad face. And then the 5, this plus 5 right here, what it does is it pushes it up. That's the, we'll learn later on, that's your d value, and it pushes it up 5. So now your new graph, let's go ahead and I'll just do dotted to kind of but really the graph that I really want is pushed up 5 like this. And so if you look at this darkened graph, you'll actually see it over here. So you can also do a mirror, is that these points are just flipped over. So you count 2 here, then it's 2 there. How many is that? 4 boxes and then 4 boxes. Okay, so my graph, this orange one from up here, the sad face, is just like this. Okay. All right, let's review. Table of values, I did it. Graph, yes, did it again. And the equation, equation is right here. Y equals negative x squared plus 5.